Hi folks, Chris Cartea here. These are not mere mortals. They are in fact, if I can get this out of the holster in one hand because the stupid head cam thing doesn't work. They are in fact Cartea Modworks Sharpfires. From the appearance of the blaster, at first glance that looks very much just like a normal Sharpfire, except you'll notice this trigger shoe right here is cut off. There's no locks in here. The back has 5 holes, and the 4 on the outside are much bigger to allow more airflow, and you have a brass barrel in the front. Now, because of the way that this is made, it seems like you can't take this apart. You can't service this blaster. Wrong-o. Okay? Now, my actual Sharpfire that I play with, okay, is, I have a thing about putting a brass breech in a normal Sharpfire. The ones I come with that I sell are stainless steel on the inside, and they're easier to prime. But I like the brass one because the brass expands out when you fire. It's just harder to prime, but since I have like He-Man arms, I don't care. So for the sake of preservation and the fact that the Merlin fire, which is just like this one except it's got a rifle barrel on it, is the same technically, except for the barrel, which all you're going to see of the barrel is it taken off. We're going to take apart this one to show you how to do it, okay? Now it would seem, okay, where you get this blaster. This slide is actually, you can see the stainless steel breech tab. This slide is actually glued to the bolt. It's crazy glue. There's a big pool of crazy glue in there that got glued in to maintain the integrity of the bolt and this, so that bolt never breaks off. As you can see, the piece of silver metal in there, that's 3/16 stainless steel. Okay, that's my pusher that goes into this, so the two never bind together. Now, on this one, my normal Ultramatch Sharpfire, you can see that it's brass, and it does stick together, but it makes a pretty nice seal. I don't know, it's a finicky thing. But on my experimental Merlin fire, I decided I'm just going to do that. You may notice that the breech, the finger, my personal ones, I like them a little on the side. Whereas when I'm loading, I'm usually have the blaster like this. I'm putting the dart like that. So you'll see that this chamber is going to be a little off like that. Also a personal preference of my blasters. Okay? But we're going to show you how to take this apart. It would seem, okay, the barrel's glued in there. I mean, this is like solidly, you know, on this one, it's solid silicone glue. On this one, it's specially bound to just this part right here, so that this part right here can be taken off. Okay, but this is an experimental blaster. Nonetheless, the procedure applies to both. So, let's begin, shall we? First, you want to take off the case bolts. These still unscrew, okay? I mean, you would think, okay, well, Chris, how are you going to take this apart? The barrel is bound to the frame. The slide is bound to the bolt. How are you going to take this apart? There are a few parts that are not serviceable at this point. Number one, the bolt is in there, but don't worry, the seal in here is permanently airtight. Okay, you can't really remove the bolt from the piston, but as you can see, you won't have to. And the barrel can't be removed from this, but you can get to all internal parts. This is why I'm less about being able to take apart certain things that compromise the strength of the blaster and make it less accurate and everything else. And I'm much more about okay, I can take off this plunger. I can take off this bolt. So let's say, for example, my pusher comes loose. It happens. Well, how am I going to get that pusher back in? Or if I need to replace this entire assembly right here, put the pusher that's in there back in another one, or order one from me for a few bucks and have it shipped, or just change this because for some reason these screws are stripped or something bad. Or what about this catch? What if a catch? You need to put another trigger catch in from another Sharpfire. Well, it's real easy. Okay, lose the trigger seal. Bingo. That's how you do it. You basically release it from the pins here, where it's held back here, and you can get to the whole thing. I now can get to my bolt. You can see where the seal is on this. Okay. I can now get to the bolt. I can get to everything. It's all right there. You can see the twin spring array in this one. Okay. And then you can get to the bore of the barrel. See that? I can get to the whole bore of the barrel. If I have locks in here, I accidentally left them in here, I can take them out. If I mess up my catch, I could put in another one. I can put in a new trigger. Okay, this is the kind of trigger you should have without the arm at all. Okay? That way that this has the maximum amount of travel. Okay? I can get to everything now. See? Easy. Easy. Right? Totally easy. The whole thing is an interlocking system, so I really do like this blaster a lot for a sidearm blaster. You don't need a stronger trigger catch spring, since this is a pivot catch, and basically when the plunger head hits the trigger catch, the more pressure it has, the harder it is engaging the catch. Unlike a guillotine catch, where you do need a stronger spring. Okay, so let's put this back together. Basically, you're just prying this apart. Now, don't pry them too far so it breaks. But you have quite a bit of movement there because this is a really thin piece of white plastic. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay. Now, we got a trigger catch. We got to get that. I got that trigger catch. We got to get that trigger catch into that hole, but we have to do it while keeping the integrity of the trigger and the catch. I mean, look at that trigger and the catch of spring. Very, very simple mechanism. There's really not much to it. Like, this steel pin here goes into there, and it's permanently in there. If this breaks, don't worry about it. Just hold it to that. It's fine. It will all fall into place. Everything on this blaster interlocks, which is what I like about the Sharpfire the most. With this, I can get to my pusher, which is kind of loosely in there right now. Okay. I can glue it. If this comes loose, like this part right here comes loose, I can glue that hole. That's a hole that was taped there. But that's crazy glue and laminated fiber tape. That's not going in. Make sure when you glue it, do not get it into these grooves, no matter what, or you're going to mess up this function. Just did a boo-boo. Hold on a second. Huh. This is the other way of doing it. It's just to put in that trigger catch where the whole thing is in. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There it is. My trigger catch works. Huh. So, I may notice a few things. Number one, I don't use the stock adapter. Why? This is a sidearm pistol. You want a good carbine, get one of those, or get one of those. But I don't really, it never really gets used as a rifle, so it doesn't. Yeah, you get the idea. I don't have the stock adapter in there at all, and none of my pistols I personally do. But you have to put all that in and that if you want to keep it. But as you can see, it's 100% field strippable. As you can see, yeah. So I can get this apart and this apart. Okay, I can basically do this and this. Now, why did I do it this way? One, I wanted a way that this was stable to the bolt and the barrel was stable to this. This blaster is about accuracy. It is not about being economical. It's not about any of that stuff. It is about accuracy. Okay. Number two, if you have to change out your bolt, well, you got to buy a new blaster anyway. And so I figured, if you got to buy a new bolt, you got to buy a new slide, you got to buy something else. Do you see what I'm saying? Then why bother sacrificing strength and performance? You might as well just make it field strippable so I can get to my pusher, I can get to my springs, I can get to my barrel, I can get to my bore, get to my locks, and get my trigger, and get my trigger catch, and pretty much you can feel that's pretty much as the blaster is intact without having to buy a new shell. That's everything you need. So I did it this way. Now this has a lot of controversy, of course. You can't completely just take the whole thing. You take the whole thing apart. Like a lot of other blasters. It's a little bit more like taking apart a firearm. But that's how it's done. Till next time, peace out, guys.